Hello and welcome. This is Tarot Talk with Mystic Cat on Green Ink Radio, where we are all about hope, health, and joy. I'm Mystic Cat, and Tarot Talk is the show where we look at changing our story to change our life. Tarot is what I use to help uncover that story, especially the parts that are subconscious or unconscious. From my point of view, tarot is a tool for therapeutic self-help and practical action steps. It's so good to have you here with me today, and I was thinking today I would like to talk about tarot cards versus oracle cards. Not like they're in a pitched battle against each other, but to compare and contrast them because no, they're not the same thing. Although they have the same kind of idea or the same modality in that they're both cartomancy. Cartomancy is the ancient art of divination through a card deck or a set of images. And with cartomancy, we use intuition to interpret images. So, tarot cards versus oracle cards. Gonna go over tarot cards first. And if you've listened to any of my shows, you're probably sick of hearing this because I usually like to give some overview of tarot structure in any given show just in case I have new listeners. So bear with me here if you've already heard this. Okay, tarot cards are usually a much more structured type of deck. There are 78 cards total, and there's 2 categories of card types. Now, I've said this before too, but there are definitely tarot decks or decks calling themselves tarot cards that are missing one or more of these elements that I am using to describe tarot cards. But in general, this is what makes tarot cards be tarot cards. Okay, so 78 cards total. 2 categories of card types. One category is the major arcana. The major arcana deal with, surprise, surprise, major life experiences, situations, circumstances. They're usually numbered 0 through 21, so there's 22 total. They're usually named either with a concept, like temperance or death or the world, or an archetype, like a high priestess, emperor, or devil. The other category of card type in tarot cards is the minor arcana. So 78 cards, I don't want to say split into 2 card types because they're not split. You mix them all together, or in general people do. There's always different ways of doing readings. Like you could do a reading with just all major arcana or just all cups or something like that. But if we're looking at the entire deck, there's the 2 card types within a tarot deck, major arcana, minor arcana. The minor arcana refer to more everyday experiences, situations, and circumstances. So the day-to-day stuff, the nitty-gritty, the small things. Well, not that they're small, but just that they're not like, whoa, this major thing happened to me. Unless you tend to dramatize like things that happen in a grocery store line or whatever, which is fine. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying basically what happens maybe in the grocery store line or on the road when we're driving isn't life-changing. Although it can be. I'm open to anything. The minor arcana is usually split into 4 suits. And again, this split thing, it's a bad word. I mean that there are 4 suits that make up the minor arcana. So those 4 suits are very loosely, again, cups, swords, pentacles, wands. And by very loosely, I mean some people don't call them cups, they call them hearts or, I don't know, bowls or something. And some don't call them swords, they call them daggers or whatever. So there are different words, but the idea is the same, that there's 4 suits, and each suit runs from ace or 1 through 10, and then is followed in general by 4 court cards. Page, knight, queen, king. Although I've definitely seen these named differently, like prince, princess, queen, king, that kind of thing. There is a general agreement among tarot users as to the basic meanings of each card. And in the minor arcana, we start with the suit element. So I said there were 4 suits. Basically, the Cups suit is related to the element of water, and water refers to emotions. The Swords suit is related to the element of air, and that refers to thought and communication. The Pentacles suit is related to the element of earth, and that reflects the physical, concrete world. And the Wands suit is related to the element of fire, and there we've got like energy or movement and creativity. So when we're looking at the meanings for each card, that's kind of the basis, the suits and their element, and what that element is related to. So we take that and then also sort of blend in the numerological associations for its number. So a 1 has a certain numerological meaning or associations. A 2 has other numerological meanings or associations. A 3 has other, etc., etc. So in blending that, what I mean is like the Ace of Cups, Ace or 1 is a beginning, is a start of something. Cups is emotion. So we're looking at a new love relationship or a new state of emotion or a renewing of an emotion, that kind of thing. Now, the meanings for the major arcana in a tarot card deck are drawn from the life lessons in our journey through life. From the Fool, which is the 0 card, to the World, which is the 21st card, number 21. The journey, this journey through life in the major arcana is symbolic. We can be journeying along more than one path at the same time. So by that I mean we're in the midst of simultaneous journeys throughout our lives for different aspects of our lives. For example, a person may be very far along on their financial journey, but still a beginner on their emotional journey. So financially, they've been able to integrate the acceptance of abundance and are able to manifest in the concrete physical world very well. Maybe emotionally, this person who can manifest very easily and well physically is emotionally not well developed, not matured. Those are 2 life journeys taken simultaneously, yet the same person is at different levels. The major arcana can speak to those journeys and where we are on any particular journey, at what level, and where we're going. So all the cards, all 78 cards, have many shades of meaning. Like I said, that Ace of Cups, beginning of a new relationship. But there can be other shades of meaning to that. It can be a pregnancy, which is a new relationship, right? It can be a major shift in mood, emerging from depression or that kind of thing, which again is a new emotional state, but it's sort of a shade of meaning. So tarot cards can be very subtle, very specific and particular. And tarot designers will use symbology that emphasizes one or more of those shades of meaning. So different tarot decks can show different representations of the same card with different aspects of the basic meaning of that card more or less emphasized than another aspect of that meaning. And it would be very difficult to include all the shades of meaning for every card on a card. It's a small space. And certainly the space on tarot cards is full of fabulously detailed imagery, but I don't think it's practical or even doable to include them all. Okay, so that's a basic overview of tarot cards. Now, oracle cards. They are usually much less structured, or if they are structured, it's a very different structure from traditional tarot, and it's almost never the same structure twice, like across 2 decks. There are definitely fewer rules, like no rules, for oracle cards, where tarot has all that, there must be 78, and you have to have major arcana, minor arcana, 4 suits, blah, blah, blah. Oracle cards are pretty wide open in terms of content, images, symbology, and meanings. can be any number of cards, can be any type of images. There probably won't be categories of cards, but one thing they do have generally is a theme, some kind of theme. I've seen themes like botanicals, like flowers or herbs, or angels, or Day of the Dead. I've seen oracle cards that are centered around gemstones or crystals, trees, mandalas, fairies, Chinese oracle bone script. That was cool. Look for this online. It's a free printable download of the card deck and a guidebook. Look under Benebell Wen, Benebell Wem, and Chinese oracle bone script. So cool. Anyway, that's another oracle deck. I've seen them with the theme of vampires or chakras or animals. There was one, I'm pretty sure it was bees. I'm pretty sure it was all bees. So cool. Aboriginal artwork from Oceania or Australia. Goddesses. Just about anything you can think of, somebody's done an oracle deck. Your imagination is the limit. With oracle cards, the meaning is often written right on the card. Tarot cards don't have meaning written on them except for the symbols, but there are symbols that you interpret or are aware of the symbology or the symbolic meaning. Oracle decks, they'll write the meaning on the card, or there's a title for the card written on the card, and then you look it up in a guidebook. Oracle cards can be a great way to begin working with intuitive readings through cards. First of all, although there can be any number of cards in an oracle deck, you could have 200 if you wanted. There's usually less than 78 cards, like way less. The meanings tend to be more obvious in that they're either written on the card or there's a title that's really leading to help you be able to see what they want you to see in that card. They can be less abstract and more concrete, but the meanings are usually more clear overall. It means just one thing, not several things at the same time. The symbology is less esoteric. It's more of a direct correspondence. Like there's a picture of someone giving something to someone and you know it's receiving, it's a gift, it's someone gave you something. They often tend to be very ethereally beautiful, very, very feel-good. Some tarot decks can have kind of intimidating or dramatic artwork. So the oracle decks usually tend to be more light and less dramatic. Oracle cards tend to be perceived as like, I don't know, what's the term, white magic or beneficial or good, where tarot cards have long had a stigma attached to them, a negative connotation like, ooh, that's the work of the devil, or this is occult and therefore sinful or wrong or bad, or you're going to invite bad things in. Oracle cards tend not to have that reputation. And it's ironic because they're both doing the same thing. They're both doing cartomancy, right? But oracle cards don't have that long history of being shunned or maligned by the state church. So that makes them somewhat more acceptable. However, one is not better than the other. It's not tarot is better or oracle cards are better. They are just different and can be used for different purposes. Tarot is useful for very detailed, in-depth readings. I can usually get time out of readings like, oh, this will happen in this many months or in a year and a half or in 2 weeks kind of thing. I can get, oh, there's this person here and that person there doing this in that situation, that kind of thing. Whereas oracle cards are useful for general reflection, soul searching, getting sort of a big picture feeling around something, getting advice, that kind of thing. They can also be used together. So use tarot cards and oracle cards together in the same reading. Take some time to consider what you're pairing. You know, you may want a good match where both decks have the same general theme or look or concept, like an angel tarot deck with an angel oracle deck, or you may want to pair opposites for a complementary approach, like, I don't know, animal tarot deck with a gemstone oracle deck. I mean, animals aren't necessarily opposite gemstones, but they're not like animal, vegetable, mineral. They're not in the same category. You might pair your oracle cards with your tarot cards to sort of supply another layer of meaning. Maybe you've got a goddess tarot and you pair it with an astrology oracle. So then you've got the messages from the divine along with the messages from the stars. Or you could go completely random. It can be really fun to see what comes up. Like you could get a Robin Hood tarot deck with a vampire oracle. That would be fun. The different ways to do this. So you could have an oracle card. You pull that as the first card before the tarot reading. Do this to set the tone or theme for the reading. And then the tarot cards would supply the details. Or you could do the oracle card as the final card for the tarot reading to sort of cap off the reading and bring it all together and leave the questioner with some advice. You could do it the other way around. You know, do a full oracle card reading and then have one tarot card either as the first card to set the tone or the last card to bring it all together. You could do a 1-for-1. So for every tarot card you draw an oracle card. The oracle card can give the spin to the tarot card or advice for the tarot card, or vice versa, right? You do the oracle card first and the tarot card, that kind of thing. You could create your own spread. So come up with your whole own idea of how to lay out the cards and what the positions mean, and combine tarot cards and oracle cards. Like, okay, positions 1, 2, and 3 are oracle cards, and then 4 and 5 are tarot, and then 6 is another oracle, and then 8 and 9 are tarot, and, you know, something like that. Or just shuffle the cards together for a regular traditional spread and just lay them out all shuffled up together and see what happens. Like, there's so many fun things you could do, because this isn't an issue of one versus the other. One's better than the other. They both have their uses, and they're both fascinating and provide wonderful insights into what we are living, doing, thinking, and dreaming. As I say, a tool for self-growth, self-development, and practical guidance. Okay, let's do this. I want to do a 1-for-1 tarot oracle reading, and I'm going to use just 3 cards, which will end up as 6 cards because I'm going to have, 1 tarot, 1 oracle, 1 tarot, 1 oracle, 1 tarot, 1 oracle. The 3 positions will be issue, influence, and action in that order. And I have decided to use the good match option. I think they'll be a good match. We'll see. I have the Robin Wood tarot. It looks very British Isles. We got people in kilt, knights, shining armor, all that. It's a very traditional deck with traditional symbols, and I'm pairing that with the Celtic Tree Oracle. Even the same area, British Isles kind of thing, medieval-ish kind of thing, although Tree Oracle and the Ogham, I think, goes back further than medieval times, but we're still looking at the same basic cultural heritage. So I'm excited for this. First, I'm going to do a really good shuffle of the Robin Wood Tarot. I can tell you that I haven't used these cards before. I had a friend who's getting rid of cards, and she offered these to me, and they looked interesting, so I was like, sure. I mean, who am I to say no to a deck of tarot cards? I am not that person. Definitely not that person. I can tell you that these are a great size. I'm really finding them easy to shuffle, which I like. Okay, this reading is for you. If you are listening, this is for you. I'm going to shuffle this other deck. Okay. Now, the Celtic Tree Oracle deck is much smaller. I mean, the size of the cards is smaller, but there's also way fewer cards. Looks like there's about 25. They're very stiff cards, and they have this very interesting backing that's kind of sticky. I like the substance. Like they feel very substantial because they're so thick, and their back feels very like high end for some reason. I don't know why. But they're not easy to shuffle. I can tell you that. And that may also be because they're like brand new, and this is another deck that same friend gave me. She's getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And like I said, who am I to turn down a new deck of cards? And so it looks like she never used them. And I haven't used them yet, so maybe the more they get used, the more easy they are to shuffle. If you hear this, this is for you. Okay, both decks shuffled. So the process I'm going to use is I'm going to pull one from the Robin Wood Tarot and then one from the Celtic Tree Oracle. That'll be number one issue. And then I'll do influence, and then I'll do action, and then we'll look at them. Number one issue from Robin Wood Tarot. Justice card. And from Celtic Tree Oracle, White Poplar. So clueless as to what that may mean. I mean, I know what justice, or I have a good sense of what the justice card means. White Poplar. I can't tell you off the top of my head if they go together at all. So issue is what's going on. Influence. What's happening around you. Ooh, Tower, but in reverse. Interesting. That is the Robin Wood Tarot. And then the Celtic Tree Oracle I get is the Apple Tree, also reversed. What? What are the chances of that? That is cool. Wow. Okay. Third one, action. What you can do about it. Robin Wood Tarot, 6 of Rods or Wands. Ooh, yay. That's a good way to follow up the Tower, let me tell you. And Celtic Tree Oracle, another reversed Blackthorn. Each of these Celtic Oracle cards has a letter from a very ancient Druidic alphabet. And the name for that letter, which I cannot pronounce, and it's some language that comes from Celtic culture. It's an early Irish alphabet, apparently. That I will not read off these cards because I don't want to mangle what is probably a beautiful sounding language. Let's see. The first card is issue. It is Justice. Card 11. Now, 11 in numerology is what is known as a master number. It's a double one. The master numbers in numerology are 11, 22, and 33. As a master number, it is a number that has a very intense, high vibrational energy. So it has a lot to do with higher calling, higher purpose. It's a number of intuition, which is interesting because we're doing this intuitive art. When I see the Justice card, I think about things like karmic justice. And in that, I just mean what you've been putting out into the world, you will be receiving back. When we beam good energy, good thoughts, kindness, and whatnot into the world, we get that back. That doesn't mean that nothing bad will ever happen to you if you're always kind. It just means that that will be the general flavor of your daily interactions. Justice card often refers to official paperwork, documents, contracts, legal matters, that kind of thing. So with the Justice card here, in terms of the issue, there's some matter having to do with justice, fairness, or some kind of official documentation or legal paperwork that is currently on your mind or on the table for you at this time. This is a major arcana, so it feels like this contract or document or paperwork, whatever it may be, a legal case, I don't know, one of those, whatever it may be, my sense is that If you've been putting good, positive energy toward this, you'll be getting good news back. Let's see what the white poplar has to say about that, because that's the oracle card that I picked to go with the Justice card. The letter that goes with it, I can tell you it's spelled E-A-D-H-A. And I can also tell you that it won't sound the way you think it will if you speak English. This card represents your fears and doubts about the impossible odds you must overcome. How interesting. So whatever this issue is for you, you have many fears and doubts about it. You might feel that it's just impossible for it to turn out good for you. The white poplar also bears a shield, also brings words of guidance. Although your problems may appear daunting or destructive, this card is encouraging. It says, don't give way under the sometimes daunting burden of worldly pressures. It is of great assistance on the journey toward rebirth. So apparently the white poplar was often used for making shields. So I feel that this card speaks of some kind of shield for you against the slings and arrows of fickle fate that you might be imagining will come to you over this issue. This shield has the power to protect you and intervene between you and the worldly problems you fear. It's associated with the power of speech and language. So it might be that using some kind of communication, mediation, something like that, use your words, communicate, it sounds like would be very helpful. And also listen for the still small voice within. But here you have the ability to endure and conquer. Now the influences around this. Tower, reversed. So the influences around this, what's happening all around this issue, this legal case or contract or official document or whatever, what's happening around it, kind of things falling apart, it's something was toppled or will be toppled or is toppling. Something's being taken down with this. Something is being dismantled with this card. And your issue is somehow linked or connected to this dismantling. The Tower is a major arcana. It's a big thing that's being taken down or dismantled or restructured, reorganized, reworked. It's reversed. So in many ways, I feel that this is an influences card, so it can be what's going on around you. So I almost wonder if this dismantling or taking down is either an inside job where things are kind of falling apart from within, or if it's your own fears and doubts that are sort of unraveling you or unraveling the situation. Whichever, it's definitely transformation in a very dramatic way. Now, the Celtic Tree Oracle card that goes with it is Apple. The apple is associated with choice. The choice you have to make may be between similar and equally attractive things. It may be very hard to choose since all the alternatives appear promising. The apple itself represents a choice of beauty, the beauty of life and youthfulness. As a reversed card under this system, the Celtic Tree Oracle system, it says you must recognize that a choice has to be made. You have to decide. You cannot live in several places at once. If you're dating more than one person, you won't be able to develop just one relationship, or you won't be able to develop each one fully. You can't develop a talent with full energy and attention if you're split between developing several talents at once. All the options are open to you and all of them are a good choice. You just have to decide. If you don't, you'll end up with nothing fully fleshed out, fully realized. Things are falling apart from within. Things are being taken down, reorganized, restructured, dismantled. You need to decide where you're going to land. My feeling is you'll land on the side of justice and fairness. Be sure that you are fair to yourself, but you are protected, in your choice. As the white poplar says, and as the apple says, all the choices are good choices, just choose. And when we look at the final card, the action card, Six of Wands, is a card of triumph and celebration. So I do really feel that you are choosing, or will choose well, despite this whole tower thing, like this maelstrom, this storm that's in the center of it all. I feel a great calmness going in and celebration and triumph coming out. So the worries and fears and doubts that are all roiling and turmoiling within aren't the true story. It's that whole thing where fear equals false evidence appearing real. F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. It's false. Your fear is false. It's a story you're telling that describes the worst possible outcomes. I'm seeing a good outcome. I'm seeing good news, important news, a gain, achievement, a reward for hard work. I'm seeing good outcomes. This case, this contract, this paperwork, this document, whatever it is, it's on the side of justice. It's on your side. It ultimately results in triumph and celebration. Relax and let your fears and doubts wash away. Remember, the white poplar is a shield of protection, and the apple assures you that all choices are good choices. Now, the Celtic tree that goes with this is blackthorn, and it's reversed. Okay, blackthorn is a wintry tree. It's got thorns. Duh. And forms dense thickets when given the opportunity to spread. Oh, what was that fairy tale where there was a tower and all these really thorny trees grew up around the base of it so nobody could come save the damsel in distress that was in it? I can't remember which one. This card represents the strong action of fate or outside influences on your life and journey, which must be obeyed. You may feel you have no choice but to let events take you over, forcing you down a harsh, unavoidable path. I don't know. This other card said you had choices. This one's saying you don't. Unexpected change or ruining of your plans can be daunting. Well, that's the tower. Unexpected change, dramatic reversals, that kind of thing. This says, just as the same glass can be seen to be half empty or half full depending on your perception, so on your spiritual journey, a hard disruptive period can be entered into in a negative way or a positive way. So choose the positive is what Apple is telling you, and trust that you're protected is what White Poplar is telling you. If you persist with a negative viewpoint, so if you continue on the path of fear and doubt, and you want to cling to the old ways and feel resentful of this change, you'll only damage yourself in the end. Like these thorns on this black thorn with the reverse card turned inward, maybe? Although it says there's no reverse position, it's just what it is. But it's self-damaging to continue with fears and doubts. Except that this unexpected change or the reversal of your plans or whatever has happened, and with acceptance, you let go of resistance. When you let go of resistance, the good can flow to you, and you are more able to recognize a new direction or opportunity as it emerges from the chaos and work with it. Wow, this is so cool, this blackthorn, the way it follows up the tower. Although your life may have altered drastically, you safely emerge into a new fulfilling phase, cleansed and renewed. So a winter of discontent can lead to a fruitful change and a new flowering. So whatever's going on with this issue of justice and fairness, you're not going to feel right away like triumphant and celebratory about it. There'll be doubts and fears. You feel like you're being torn apart from within. Everything's getting dismantled. all the structures around you are sort of dissolving. Understand that you're protected. Understand that you still have the ability to make choices throughout this process. Even as many things seem to be happening to you, they are truly actually happening for you. And if you can shift your perspective into that, into accepting, although this feels like it's happening to me, it's actually happening for me, and I will emerge triumphant and have reason to celebrate. If you can do that, you will release the resistance and be open to the victory that lies ahead. Isn't this interesting? Well, I feel like those went together really well, these decks, and that the reading came together pretty amazingly, especially when I look at Apple and Blackthorn with Tower and Justice. And then I really like the Six of Wands at the outcome. What I would say is your best action is to imagine the best outcome rather than the worst. And the worst outcome is what we imagine when we're based in fear and doubt. And the best outcome is what we imagine when we are coming from the energy of the 11, the instinct, the intuition, the higher self. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I found it fascinating, and I'm interested in hearing about your experiences and experiments with oracle cards, and if you do anything with oracle and tarot cards together. I'd love to hear from you. You can find me at greeninkradio.com, and you can find Tarot Talk and other great shows on greeninkradio.com. Green Ink Radio podcasts are also on iTunes and at Spreaker.com. I'd love it if you could follow us on Spreaker if you haven't already, or like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for sharing in this fun exploration of tarot and oracle cards together. And that's all for now. Thank you for being here with me whenever and wherever you are at this time. And I am wishing you hope, health, and joy.